Namaste, myself Triveni Khurana, Assistant Professor, Faculty Physiotherapy and Diagnostics, JBN, Rajasthan. Today we are going to discuss about heliotherapy. Heliotherapy is the scientific application of the sun's ray in the treatment of disease. As the living animal absorbs stored up sun energy in the form of blood, which in itself or in its original form, the sun's rays excites the living organism to greater energy or activities, accompanied by setting free stored up energy. This latter is expressed in increasing viability, physical and mental activities. The beneficial effects of sunlight upon disease processes have been known since ancient times. But the procedure was first systematized by Rolle, Switzerland. Constant exposure of the body to sunlight induces pigmentation of skin, stimulates the physiological functions of the skin, restores the natural tone to the muscles, and causes an increase in density and dimension of the osseous structure. The sun treatment also promotes greater respiratory activity, which improves the heart action and the general circulation. In addition, heliotherapy stimulates the endocrine glands, the metabolism is increased, the appetite is improved, and the digestive functions are more normal. Altitude is said to influence favorably the action of the sun, as the higher altitudes the light is more intense and at lower levels the heat is often depressing. However, equally satisfactory results may be obtained at any level if the exposure is employed in a scientific manner. Heliotherapy is indicated whenever the body energy is deficient. The value of sun radiation has been proved in tuberculosis, bone and joint affections, rickets, osteomalacia, osteochondritis, and delayed union of fractures. It is beneficial in localized wounds, ulceration due to circulatory or neurotrophic disturbances, and infected wounds. Chronic arthritis and syphilis refractory to treatment are favorably influenced. Although heliotherapy is useful in many pathological conditions, the remarkable clinical results obtained in tuberculosis of the bones and joints make the subject of paramount importance to the orthopedic surgeon. However, tuberculosis is a constitutional disease and physician must not regard the joint invasion as a purely local problem. In addition to heliotherapy, fixation of the joint by orthopedic appliances, operative fusion when indicated, and general anti-tuberculous measures such as tonics and nourishing food must be employed. Proper effects are obtained only by proper dosage. Overstimulation is likely to occur unless the treatment is individualized and supervised. Heliotherapy must be administered under the direct supervision of the physician, and it is the best given in an institution especially equipped for the purpose. But if this is not practical, treatment can be carried out very effectively in the home. A place should be selected for the treatment which is protected from wind currents. A southern exposure is preferable so that both morning and afternoon sun can be secured. The location must be open about to the sunlight and not enclosed by glass, metal or wire screening. A cot or bed upon which the patient may lie should be provided. In summer, when the sun is intensely hot, the exposure should be started as early as possible in the morning and should be resumed in the late afternoon, omitting the midday hours. In winter, the best time for exposure is in the middle of the day, beginning about 9 am. The exposure should be given as nearly as possible at the same time each day. All clothing is removed. The head is covered by a broad-brimmed hat and the eyes protected from the glare of the sun by a pair of amber glasses. A sheet may be used during the first week to drape the unexposed portions of the body. After tolerance to the sun has been acquired, A T-strap or pair of short trunks is all that is necessary. As much care is necessary in regulating exposure to the sun as is required in the dosage of drugs or any medical treatment, and accurate timing by a clock is therefore required in order that the patient receives the proper amount of insolation. Why? With debilitating patients and when the weather is cool, exposure are made on the first day for 5 minutes every 2 hours. The feet and lower 4 inches of the legs are uncovered and exposed to the sunlight. Both the front and back surfaces of the body should be exposed, and the areas alternated by lying first on the back and then on the abdomen. On the second day, the feet and legs are exposed as described for the first day. The sheet is then raised so that a new surface 4 inches above is exposed, and the treatment continued for 3 or 5 minutes longer. Thus, the time of exposure on the original area is increased to 8 or 10 minutes. Both front and back surfaces of the legs should be exposed. On the third day, the time of exposure over the feet and legs is increased to 15 minutes. The time over the second area to 10 minutes, and a new surface for 4 inches is exposed for 3 to 5 minutes. The time and surface area on both sides of the body is gradually increased in this manner until the entire body acquires tolerance to the sun and air and the proper dosage is secured. As the reaction of individuals differs, no arbitrary rule can be made as to the maximum dosage. Some patients will improve on 10 hours daily, while others can stand only 6. In robust patients, when the temperature is above 75 degrees Fahrenheit, the tendinous process of acquiring tolerance may be omitted and the entire body exposed for 5 minutes every 2 hours, increasing from 3 to 5 minutes each day until the maximum time is reached. Heliotherapy must not be indiscriminately administered or much harm may accrue. If headache, weakness, nausea or fever are present, the time of exposure should be decreased or the treatment discontinued temporarily to be resumed later and more gradually. If the sun is very cold, a damp cloth or ice cap may be placed on the patient's head and the time of exposure decreased. Never keep the patient out if he is cold or chilly. Bring him in at once and see that he is well warmed. Pigmentation or tanning of the skin is essential to success and indicates how effectively instructions are carried out. In brunettes, mahogany brown should be secured and constantly maintained. Response to treatment is not so satisfactory to those who do not pigment or freckle, as blondes, particularly red blondes. Care is required to prevent burning or blistering. If patient has been sunburned, give a shorter exposure the next time. The length of time given for exposure is for full sunset. If the patient is exposed 10 minutes on a partially cloudy day and 15 minutes the next time on a hot sunny day, he may be burnt even though the schedule is followed exactly. On rainy days, the sun should be utilized whenever it shines. When the weather is cloudy, the exposure is not so effective but should be continued routinely. The length of time may be increased on cloudy days after the patient has acquired tolerance. The time required to secure satisfactory results varies, but excellent results have been obtained after so short a time as 5 months. In all tuberculous affections, over-treatment is advisable. In every case, at least 2 seasons of 9-month isolation should be given. But in the majority, 3 years of continuous treatment are required. When the finances of the patient permit, there should be a close pursuit of sun for the entire 12 months of the year, which can be acquired by moving a warmer climate during the winter season. Undoubtedly, the incident fresh air has a beneficial effect, but the relative improvement is much greater in those treated with heliotherapy than in those treated with fresh air without removal of clothing. Marine treatment is the routine bathing of tuberculous patient in the sea and is of tonic value, especially when combined with heliotherapy. Artificial heliotherapy may be used during the months in which direct exposure to the sun's rays is not practical, although the same beneficial result is not to be expected. Thank you.